long time ago, on the island of Lamu, Hutash, the earth goddess, walked all alone. She had many animal friends, friends of the sea, the land, and the air, but Hutash longed to be with people made in her own image. So one day, Hutash climbed the highest mountain in Lamu, and she gathered seeds from a sacred plant. As she cast the seeds around her, she spoke, "As these seeds are scattered on the earth, so shall there be people." Very soon the seeds took root in soil and grew into plants. But instead of flowering when they opened, people, male and female, young and old, stepped forth. This was the beginning of the Chumash tribe. The earth goddess was so pleased with her people. She loved them dearly. That night, Hutash raised her arms and called to her husband, the Milky Way. "Great, wise sky snake, behold the Chumash people who are so beautiful and strong." Hearing her call, Sky Snake wrapped himself in a cloak of light and came down from the heavens. He moved among the sleeping Chumash and looked into their faces. His heart went out to the people, and he also loved them deeply. "Yes, it's true, the Chumash are beautiful and strong, but I see how they sleep on the cold ground and have no warm food to eat. I must give them a gift." So Sky Snake returned to the heavens, where he prepared their gift. He then opened his mouth, and he stuck his tongue out, which sent a lightning bolt down to earth. Where it struck, a fire began to burn. The Chumash awakened from their cold sleep. They gathered joyfully around the fire. That night they danced and sang many praises. In the moons that followed, the Chumash learned how to control fire, and so they were warm every night, and they also learned how to cook their food on the glowing embers. Now the Chumash grew in numbers. More and more babies were born every year. Once again, Hutash was not happy. Too many children trampled the flowers and frightened the animals away. Too many mothers sang to their babies and cooked among fires. And too many of the fathers sang and danced and played drums into the night. The poor earth goddess could not sleep. Her eyes were swollen and her head throbbed from so much noise. What could be done? Well, Hutash decided to enter the village and speak with the Chumash people. But, one after another, they wouldn't listen. Everyone was too loud and too busy. "Oh, what am I to do?" the goddess cried. But in the shade of a hut, a boy and a girl were quietly weaving baskets. They immediately recognized the goddess and invited her to come inside. The two friends offered a bowl of acorn porridge and a seashell with spring water to her. Hutash tasted the porridge and spoke. "Please tell the people of Lamu that our island has grown crowded. In 3 days, half of you must leave and go to the land across the water. The other half may stay on my island." The boy spoke up, although he was very frightened. "How could our people cross the ocean? The other half is so far away, and wouldn't we drown?" Well, Hutash finished her porridge, drank all the spring water, and wiped her lips. She said, "Tell the people that in 3 days I will build them a bridge. Those who have chosen to leave will cross over the water on my bridge." Without looking back, the goddess left the hut and climbed the highest mountain in Lamu. When the boy and the girl showed their people the bowl that Hutash had eaten from and the shell she had drank from, the Chumash listened. That day, they held a great council and decided who should go to the new land and who should stay on Lamu. And sure enough, in 3 days, the villagers awoke to an amazing sight. A rainbow bridge stretched from the highest mountain on Lamu to the highest mountain across the water. Soon families began to gather at the bridge. The girl's family was first, and the boy's family was right behind. But when it came time to cross over, some of the Chumash were afraid, so Hutash gave them her blessing. "Go forth and fill the world with many children," she said. With that blessing in their ears, the people began to cross the rainbow bridge. Halfway over, the boy grew very curious. "How is it possible that you could walk through the sky on such a bridge?" he wondered. When he looked down through the rainbow, he saw swirling fog and crashing waves and grew very dizzy. He tried to maintain his balance, but he lost it and tumbled off the bridge. As he fell, he called out to his friend, the girl, to help, but she could not hear him. The boy wasn't alone, though. Some of the other Chumash had looked down and also fell into the sea. Hutash immediately heard their cries and saw that her people were drowning. She loved her people and could not bear to lose a single one, so with a wave of her hand, the goddess swept away the fog and the sea calmed. Then she spoke. "As there are people who walk on the land, so shall there be people that swim in the ocean." With that, Hutash turned the drowning Chumash people into dolphins, and they were all saved. As the last person stepped off the bridge and onto their new land, the earth goddess pursed her lips and blew into the sky. The rainbow bridge disappeared. Hutash looked around her and was very pleased. Peace and happiness had returned to her island. But at the foot of the bridge on the new land, the girl waited for her friend, but he never came. When the rainbow bridge disappeared, she knew he had fallen into the ocean, and she feared that he had drowned. She cried, and she ran down the mountain across the beach and dove into the sea. She called out to her friend, hoping he could hear her, but the boy was nowhere in sight. Suddenly, rising out of the waves, dolphins, male and female, young and old, surrounded the swimming girl. They jumped into the air, and the dolphins called to each other in their whistling voices. One young dolphin swam close to the girl, closer than all the rest of the dolphins. The girl looked into its dark eyes, and she wasn't afraid. She wrapped her arms around its neck, and her sadness disappeared. For the girl understood then what the Chumash understand to this day, that dolphins of the sea are brothers and sisters of their tribe.